people are like, that's Shinedown's bass player on the bike.
All right, before we begin the show, let's thank our sponsors. First and foremost, our title sponsor, Once Upon a Coconut. All natural, non-GMO coconut water with natural electrolytes and no added sugar. You can choose from pure blueberry, pineapple, watermelon, sparkling energy, and chocolate flavors with Once Upon a Coconut. Stay hydrated and refreshed. And if you're wondering why it tastes so darn good, it's due to a combination of factors, including the freshness and sweetness of young coconut water, the lack of additives, and the natural electrolytes present. And the best part about it, Once Upon a Coconut, 10% of profits go to charity that benefit our communities, including the Down Syndrome Foundation, Breast Cancer Foundation, Leukemia Society. Good things, good people, great product. So you can grab it at some Sprouts, you can grab it on Amazon, you can go online to find a store near you or purchase it right there off of their website, onceuponacoconut.com. It is delish. Big thanks to Inspect All Pest Services, our buddy Nick and the crew over at Inspect All Pest Services, providing the highest quality termite, pest, and wildlife control. That's not all they do. Inspect All can take care of your insulation, pressure washing, gutter maintenance, and other home services in Metro Atlanta and the surrounding areas. Remember, seasonal, you get different bugs and critters all around your house, so you want to go with the best in the business, and that would be one of our fine sponsors from day one, InspectAllServices.com. It's the Mad Dog, Manny Aurora, with the Aurora Law Firm, best darn defense attorney in the world, litigating all over the United States, based out of Georgia. We're talking criminal defense, white-collar crime, DUI, drug offenses, appeals, and more. And you can always get your legal questions answered by the Mad Dog, Manny Aurora, by getting those to me. And when he pops up on a show, you get your questions answered. So go to thebaileyshow.com and we'll get those questions to the Mad Dog. The Aurora Law Firm.com. He is the best in the business when it comes to therapists. There's no doubt about that. I use them, and so should you. We're talking about Dr. David Markwell with Ridgeline Counseling. He's got 10 therapists in-house, 3 different locations there in Georgia, one across from Sprayberry High School in Sandy Plains in East Cobb, Marietta near the Square in McKaysville, just outside of Blue Ridge. But if you're not in Georgia and you need to talk to the good doctor, then you can go online and get virtual sessions. RidgelineCounseling@gmail.com if you'd like to email him directly, or go online to markwelltherapy.com. There is no better time to check if your insurance is any good. That's why FBC Insurance is waiting for you to reach out. You can call them at 888-308-1841 or email them info@FBCinsuranceservices.com. I just switched up my car insurance because I got a better deal at FBC Insurance. They were the people to find it. Perfect for new homeowners, especially if you're trying to reshop those current insurance policies. 5-star service, multi-policy, bundled discounts, and they're going to shop every carrier out there to find the best insurance for your house, flood, storm season, auto, motorcycle, boat, recreational vehicle, or just a personal policy. 888-308-1841 or go online, FBCinsuranceservices.com. Another one of our great sponsors in storm season. You have to talk to the good people at Alternate Power Solutions of Georgia. Family owned and operated. They are a Generac generator dealer, founded in 2012. So storm season, power goes out. Who knows when it's coming back on? Don't be that guy or girl that does not have a backup plan and having power for whatever it be, especially medical devices, fans, air conditioning, so on and so forth. Offering sales, service, installation, and repair of automatic home standby and portable generators, every single one of you. When you become a customer at Alternate Power Solutions of Georgia, you get an upgraded warranty, free monitoring, and warranty repair. A+ rating with the BB&B, and you pay nothing until the job is complete. Call or request a free home assessment and go to their website, poweringgeorgia.com, or buzz them at 770-853-7571. Use the discount code Bailey, my last name, and get $500 off your entire installation. All right? Servicing Georgia and Tennessee. Alive Ozone Therapy Spa in Altamont Springs, Florida. This is mine and my wife's wellness spa. If you have an autoimmune, cancer, HIV, just simple biohacking, long COVID, the answer is yes to just about anything that's going on in your body. Most of the time it starts with inflammation, and ozone therapy, it decreases inflammation. So ozone therapy, we are the first and only to do it in Central Florida. That is a live ozone therapy spa. We also offer red light therapy, halo therapy, pressotherapy, PMF grounding mat, as well as naturally in-house made ozone infused products like the magnesium butter that many of you absolutely love. Ozone therapy, what is it? Quickly, it repairs and rejuvenates your cells to the mitochondrial level by using activated concentrated oxygen. Simple as that. No side effects. That's all there is to it. It's a 30-minute session, and you actually burn up to 600 calories when you're in the Hocket sauna. We do it the most non-invasive way. So whether you're in the area or you want to travel, book an appointment, AliveOzoneTherapySpa.com. All the products you can get there as well. And remember, for you two peers, use the discount code BS10 to take that off those online products. If you want to be a sponsor of the show, reach out to me via thebaileyshow.com. And if you are a listener of this podcast and you need any of our great sponsors, please reach out to them. Now, let's begin.
I think we should do a podcast about rock and roll. And that's some stories.
Yeah, let's do it. Welcome to the Vinyl Road Podcast.
All right, there it is. Episode 15 of the Vinyl Road Podcast. All about rock and roll and stories from the road, all on the BPX. That is the Bailey Podcast Exchange. Just so you know, there's 3 different shows, 5 days a week, one feed, the feed that you're on right now. We call it the BPX. That is the Bailey Podcast Exchange. Thanks to all of our sponsors for all of the shows, Honey, I Raised the Kids, the BS, and of course, the Vinyl Road. Our title sponsor, which would be Once Upon a Coconut, onceuponacoconut.com. Find out where they sell it nearest you. And at checkout, if you decide to order online, which I would highly suggest you do, use the discount code BSPodcast10. Save yourself some Geetuses for the best damn coconut water in the land. All right. Thanks for being here. My name's Jason Bailey, and there in the ugliest wallpapered hotel room I've ever seen in my entire life of America is Mr. Brad Stewart. How are you, buddy?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Good to see you. Good to see you.
What is that behind you?
Dude, it is, I guess it's a Fairfield Inn that we're in. But yeah, I'd like to slap the decorator in the face.
Must be an old Fairfield Inn.
It's actually brand new. Is the It's not brand new. We stayed here last time. I guess it was last year. Remember the eclipse when all that shit was going on, like in July? I think it was around July 4th.
Okay.
But yeah, so it's a newer hotel, but the decor, man, it hurts my feelings a little bit. I don't know.
It's almost like it should be called the Unfair Field Inn. I mean,
I actually have an interesting story about this room in particular, if you want to hear it.
Please. Yeah. Well, where I don't know if you said it, but where are you? The Saliva tour is in play right now. What city are you in?
So today we're in Madison, Wisconsin.
Okay.
Playing the High Noon Saloon. And this is the second date of the actual tour package. We had a date in North Dakota on Saturday. That was just us. We played the Derby there, the Crash Up Derby in Valley City, North Dakota, which it was a hoot, man. It was, I don't know if you've ever been up that way, but yeah, man, they were raising hell. They were serving drinks at like noon and people were drinking them. And there was a bunch of people showed up, for the Derby, and then they came over to the stage and watched us rock. So that was Saturday, and then Sunday we were in Minneapolis downtown. And have you ever been to Minneapolis?
Nope.
Dude, there were people walking around that had tails, like fuzzy tails. I think they're called fuzzies. These people. They look
furries.
Whatever, dude.
Furries.
Yeah, so I was like, is there like a Comic-Con, like a convention in town, or is this normal?
Freaks.
And it was a thing, dude.
It's people that dress up like football teams mascots and have sex together. It's the weirdest thing ever.
It was odd to say the least.
I'm sure there's more to that story of what they do, but forgive my ignorance. That's all I know about you furry types, is that you dress up in mascot uniforms and touch each other. So each into their own, I guess. So you played what was it, Furry Fest that Saliva played? What'd you guys play?
No, it was oh man, now that you asked me, I'm gonna have to look. And it wasn't that long ago. We have a lot of dates on this run. Typically when we go there, we'll play First Avenue right there by the baseball stadium. But this time we played a place called Studio B at the Skyway Theater. So it was it was a fun time, man. We had a blast. I like Minneapolis. Some good restaurants right there downtown and stuff. But
Mhm.
But yeah, man. So then non-show day yesterday, and we took the day off in Madison, Wisconsin, and we had some bus issues, of course, which
Sure.
is typical of being out here. And I guess the turbo was jacked up, so we had to go to a place where they could fix it. So we ended up at this hotel that's wonderfully decorated Fairfield Inn here. And I get to the room, and so I'm like, man, I shower, do some yoga, and everything seems pretty normal. And I look, and the drawer is open. I look right next to me, and I'm like, huh, I don't really remember opening the drawer. So, of course, I was like, that's odd. I kind of got a little bit of heebie-jeebie, like, hair standing up on my neck kind of vibe, right?
Yeah.
So I closed the drawer, and I was like, okay, that's probably nothing. I figured maybe I was moving around, and maybe it kind of like, maybe it wasn't level or something, right? And so it made it sort of open. So then I turned and I faced east, of course, and I start meditating and just trying to kind of chill out. And I look back, and guess what? The drawer's back open.
Shut up.
Yeah. Yeah, man.
Please tell me that's the drawer with the Bible in it.
There was no Bible. There's nothing in the drawer, right? So I'm looking at it, and I got in here this morning, right? And the drawer was closed. And I literally set my gear up, and I looked over, and I'll be damned if the fucking thing wasn't open again.
Shut up, dude. Before you leave that room,
Fuck, man. Yeah.
you've got to set up your laptop and just record that drawer. Just hit record on your laptop or get like a piece of tape and tape the drawer shut and see if it still opens. That's freaky, dude.
Well, I watched those shows. I love the ghost hunters and stuff like that. And so I started talking to the thing. You opened it. Let's see you close it. Come on. Give me some here, And they didn't close it. So
Did you ask the front desk if anything weird has ever happened in that room?
I didn't, man. I was just like, I don't think they have to disclose it if you do ask them, but maybe. But yeah, it was just different, man. So I'm back in here now, and I'm like, it's like a poltergeist, man. And I saw poltergeist when I was young. I was like 12 or something. Maybe even younger than that. It freaked me out. That's pretty rough movie.
Yeah. When you're watching that snow on the TV, kids don't know anything about snow on TV and TV after midnight going dead and the national anthem playing and, guys trying to get free cable and just a nip slip between the snow on the television. A lot of you don't know about those days, but that was the whole poltergeist thing with the little girls, talking to the demons through the television, through the snow. The snow is the black and white pixels, when you have no picture on your television, for those not in the know. I don't know if you turn on your TV and you have snow, which doesn't exist anymore unless you have an antenna, you need to leave, like get out of that room. Yeah.
Apparently it's the electrons or something. It's hitting the tube, and that's what it appears like on. That's the technical thing, but yeah, it kind of brought back some memories of first seeing that movie, and I was like,
yeah,
because remember that the one scene where they're in the kitchen, and the camera pans to her, the wife, can't remember her name, but and seems normal, pans back, all the cabinets are open.
Yeah.
Remember?
Yeah.
And then the chairs are on the table, or they're upside down. It was like fucking freaky.
Oh, dude, you don't have to sell me on this shit. I'm all like, I lived in a haunted house when I was a kid in Maryland. When my mother married my first stepfather, we moved into this house that was built like in the Civil War. It had secret passages and steel walls and all kinds of crazy old stuff. And his former wife died in that house just recently, like right before we moved in. It was like a quick turnover of women. And I didn't know this until later down the road. I ended up getting her favorite room as my bedroom. It was her sewing room. And then over the years, weird things would happen in this house, and we'd hear sounds and noises and all kinds of things. And one day we're in the living room, and it was on the water. This is in Severna Park, Maryland. So if you're familiar with that part of the country, and if you live on the water, facing the water is the front yard. So it's very, Eastern Shore esque type of living, Chesapeake living. And so there's a bunch of these windows in the living room. There's like 14 of them that went around the living room, and they all had blinds, and they were all up. And it was a group of us. And again, I'm a kid, and we're sitting in the living room. It's like my mom, my cousins, my brother, me, and we're talking about all these sounds that we would hear. And my mother is laughing it off. And she gets up in the middle of all of us in the living room with all these windows, broad daylight, all the blinds up. And she goes, Christine was this woman's name. She goes, all right, Christine, if you're here, just let us know. As before she finished, no, all the blinds simultaneously at the same time dropped. True story. There's like 8 witnesses to this. Yeah.
Wow.
All of them, like
Damn.
17 windows, like whoosh at the same time.
That couldn't be. I mean, how could you pull something like that off unless you're a supernatural being or creature back there?
Right.
That's weird, man. Yeah, dude. I never really witnessed too many things like that. And then, I took a picture of the drawer being open, and I'm like, just so y'all know, when you come in here to shower, you might not be alone, So, and I showed it to him, and Scotty, he's our stage manager, and he does the guitars and sets everything up and stuff. And he's, he also obviously is in a band and does his own thing. But I came up here last night when he was in the room, and I'm talking to him, and I said, by the way, man, and before I could finish, I looked down and the drawer was open. And and he goes, dude, I told him what happened. And he goes, that drawer was just shut. I can tell you right now, I've been sitting here and the TV was on and everything. And he was like, that drawer was just literally shut.
Yeah. I think it's time for you to move rooms, hotels, or get the hell up out of Wisconsin on the Saliva tour.
Trust me. Nobody slept in here. Everybody's like, fuck this. We're going to sleep on the bus, dude, hotel or not, because the bus came back and it was fixed. And we're like, nope. Sorry.
That's really, really, you've got to, so now that you're mentioning it, and this episode, the show is released every Friday on the BPX. So you've got to take a picture and either send it to me or post it on your social and collab with the Vinyl Road, just so the Vinyl Roadies can see the haunted drawer that was at the beginning of the Saliva Tour 2025. And if anything else freaky happens on this tour, it all started with this fucking drawer. That's what it all starts with, that fucking drawer, dude.
Yeah, and I'll never forget that. And like I said, last time we were here, it was the eclipse. And that was freaky too. I don't know if
that's real freaky, dude. I don't know if that's a good omen or a bad omen to start a tour. Like, are you superstitious like that when you go out on the road?
Kinda. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. It's you definitely, if there's signs showing that, I mean, maybe it just means it's going to be an interesting run. Fuck, I don't know, dude. Like, hopefully, So when I told everyone on the bus, they were like, well, maybe it's someone from the other side trying to show you a sign. That's a sign of what, man? Like, the fuck? I don't know. So I was, and it only happened when I was in the room. No one else.
Yeah. That's really, really trippy. I know, like, when you guys were in Shinedown, you guys were, I don't know if you call it, I guess you'd call it superstitious. I mean, most of us are superstitious. I know I am. It's kind of fun, like, especially with my OCD, I do the same things religiously, repeatedly, if it's working. And if it's not working, then I'll change it up. But I remember when you guys in Shinedown, going into that second album out on tour, you started to play the Sanford and Son music at the beginning, right? Before you guys came out. And then you had that head or something stage left before you came out. It was on, the mixing board. You remember, what I'm talking about?
Yeah. I think it was Jason's. That was his kind of thing. And yeah, that because Jason was always stage left. So he would bring things to stage superstitiously. I didn't really, we would burn incense though and stuff like that. I remember we opened for Creed one time, and we tried to burn incense on stage, and they freaked out because they're like, "Fuck are you doing, man? The stage is packed with pyro. Don't fucking light anything up. Are you crazy?" This was at the Ice Palace in Tampa, and this was probably our 5th show ever as a band or whatever. We're opening for Creed, and this is like arms wide open. I mean, they're fucking massive band, right? And so yeah, we're just doing our thing, and then I remember our guitar tech at the time, Marcus, asked them for gaff tape, and they were like, "Gaff tape? Not on this run, bro." No. He asked for duct tape, and they go, "Do you mean gaff tape?" Like we were just rookies. I mean, we were so green, but we were playing like, we had big management and big labels, so we're playing like fucking arenas and shit, and we had some pretty big shows early on, supporting, of course.
Right.
And also I remember too, and I love the guys from Creed, but they that was the first time we experienced true rock stardom, because they were like, "You see that catwalk out there? Don't go on it. That's off limits for you guys. Just don't go on the catwalk." So what does Brent do? First song, he runs all the way to the end of the fucking catwalk. It was like, nah, you ain't gonna tell us what to do, man. Come on.
That's
We're brand
that's a Skinner Rolling Stones moment right there.
Yeah. And then we played our set, we did our thing, we had some fun. The crowd was great. It was like 16,000 people, whatever it was packed.
Mm.
And so then we're in our dressing room, and our wives are there. They're all, we got some friends in town, and all of a sudden they're coming through the hallway, and we're like, "Oh, cool." We say hello or whatever, but they're like, "Avert your eyes."
No.
Yeah, dude. It was like that. I was like,
Really?
"What?" And it's like clear the hall. They're walking,
Mm.
and we were like, "Okay." I mean, we're not gonna like get in their way. I mean, but we
That's
never. It's kind of like Prince. They're like, don't look at him in the eyes and shit, weird shit. Like remember Dave Chappelle?
yeah. I experienced that with Weiland, with
Oh,
STP, but like right when I got into the radio business in 95, I was an intern, and I was like making nothing. I was still in college, and I happened to get a paid internship with the now defunct Red Ant Records. And it was this little offshoot record company. I want to say they had Korn on there, like before Korn was Korn. The biggest band they had was Cheap Trick, and they had a band called Mexico 70, which I thought was really good. Then they had a band called, the band was either called Man's Chinese or Naked, but it was either the band was Man's Chinese and their first single was Naked, or vice versa. And they were Creed, like they were another Creed, like literally another Creed, before Creed was a Creed, right? So I always, 30 years later, I still have never researched it, and I always talk about it. But anyway, so Cheap Trick was opening up for Stone Temple Pilots at the old UCF arena, University of Central Florida Arena in Orlando.
Yep.
And I'm there like thinking I'm the hips nips, man. I got a laminate. I can go anywhere I want. And I'm a kid, new to this business, green as green can be. And so, I was told to take some of these people, not with the radio. I had nothing to do with the radio station. It was all about the label, and take some of these people by there. Anyway, we go kind of backstage, and this guy comes out and screams at everyone and says, "Get against the wall." And the wall was cinder block, like an old elementary school, cinder block walls. And he goes, "Face the wall now. Stone Temple Pilots coming out. Do not look at Scott Weiland in the eyes." I'm like, what is going on? Like, I never experienced anything like this. This is absurd.
yeah.
And so I was like, okay, well, just do what I'm told to do. Go against the wall, look at the wall. I gotta look, right? What are the chances that I'm going to catch eyes with Scott Weiland as he's walking in? I will never forget this to the day I die. I turn to my left. I see STP making their way behind us, and I see Scott Weiland, and I look him in the eyes. There was nothing behind those eyes. Crystal blue eyes, no soul, whatsoever. I have never looked in another man's eyes and been terrified as I did to Scott Weiland that night. 30 some, 30 years ago. That's crazy,
Wow.
So, but like with Creed, again, an Orlando launched band. I know they want to say Tallahassee, but an Orlando launched band, they're great guys. Mark Tremonti, one of the most underrated guitarists in the industry, period. The end of story. Stapp went through his, troubles. I think he's bounced back and is obviously a totally different person. The drummer Flip is an amazing dude. Tell me if I'm off here, Brad, but when you get into a band and there's a lot of investment in that band from the management company, they're going to put people around you for the smoke and mirrors that might not represent you as the band, but they're going to make it look like that kind of old school Hollywood. We're better than you, bigger than you. That's going to make you want us more. But it has nothing to do with you guys. It's all about the management, right?
I think it can be, man. I think some artists don't want to be like interrupted if they're in their zone on the way to stage. I kind of get that, but I mean, it can be a bit extreme to make you turn around and face the wall. That's pretty ridiculous. But Shinedown did some touring with Velvet Revolver, which was interesting. I guess that would have been 2004, I believe. And Scott was in a place where he was having to fly back to LA like a lot to be drug tested. And so we do several shows with them. And I'll never forget, we did a show with them on Halloween. And so Scott is, of course, dressed up as Axl Rose.
I remember this.
You remember this?
I remember this.
Slash, I think, was Buckethead.
Yeah.
So they're totally fucking with him. I think Duff was dressed as Courtney Love. Mm-hmm. And then Matt Sorum, I don't know the fuck what he was doing. I can't remember what he was doing, but it was interesting.
Yeah. I remember that because you guys one Halloween dress up as Guns N' Roses too.
We fucked around. I don't know if we ever did Guns. Fuck, I can't remember, dude.
I thought you did.
Maybe. But so after that show, so before they go on stage, Slash and Duff are playing Wish You Were Here, like just on a loop. And Slash is kind of soloing over Wish You Were Here, Pink Floyd, of course. Mm. And so, they actually come into they came into our dressing room and we give Slash some whiskey and stuff. And, he was like, great job basically opening the show. It was nice. Their spirits were lifted when we went out there or whatever. But so they do their set, whatever. And then Scott's backstage and me and Brent walk up to him and we're like, hey man, Brent's like, we've done several shows with you guys and we wanted to kind of leave you guys alone, but would it be cool if we get a picture? And that look you were talking about came over his face like it was nothing there. And I think he almost said no, honestly, but he kind of just looked to the side and was basically like, fuck, I guess so. Like he did not want to take it. He did not want, and dude, he was miserable. I get it. He had some of his substance abuse issues. Like we all struggle with things, man. I get it, but he was not having it, dude. And then we never saw him again after that. It was
I remember that Velvet tour. Duff and Slash were doing all the media stuff. Obviously, Weiland would never do any of that. I mean, if you've ever heard Weiland do an interview, which is far and few between. I mean, I heard him on Howard one time, and it was just even Howard struggled, interviewing Scott Weiland. I had after Weiland had passed, his wife, his widow, or ex-wife, or whatever she was, she wrote a book, and I remember having her on my show, and she was fantastic. She was a great guest, and like literally everything in the book and what she was talking about, like she dedicated her life trying to help him, and so I made the joke. I said, so technically you're the heroine. And she was like, oh, that's funny, because like female hero, heroine. And that's what he was all hopped up on was heroin.
I get it. Yeah. I was play on words, if you will, a pun.
I go, she goes,
Yeah.
that's funny. I said, yeah, I got to tell you, I thought that was pretty clever too. I just came up with that on the spot. She goes, I have not heard that yet. I go, yeah, the rest of your interviews are going to be pretty stuffy, I'm sure. And she was like, I will come back just because of that joke. You know, I was like, all right, I'm not trying to make fun of the dead, but you know what I'm saying. So she appreciated that.
Actually, I'm friends with her on Facebook, and so somewhat recently, she seems like a super down to earth, cool person.
Oh, cool. Well, at least when
Um,
I talked to her, she was. Yeah.
and so now she's kind of slowly letting go of some things of Scott's for people. I don't know if she's doing it like for an auction or charity, how she's doing it, but and it's painful because she'll post about it, and it's like, I've been holding on to this one, but it's time to let it go, and she's slowly sort of trying to still deal with it, man. I mean, you got to imagine that's a major void in her life at this point, so but anyhow,
I always wondered what the reasoning is when people do that, so is it because, like, if you need the money, I understand, right? And that's a great way to make money. But if you don't need the money, why would you get rid of something which is one of one and it's got history behind it? And, like, why would you get rid of that? And I'm not judging, I'm just curious. It's funny you say that. The other day, they auctioned off Freddie Mercury's bracelet, and it was this like snake wraparound bracelet. And it went for like $650,000. Wow. And I know that they're auctioning off a lot of stuff of Freddie Mercury lately. The woman, I think her name was Mary, that was in charge of his estate. She's partying with everything. She's probably up in age. I don't know what her health situation's like. And then the third excuse would be like, I just want to give it to the fans. That's the other thing. And maybe she's taking the money and putting it into, Freddie Mercury's charity, that helps with HIV. That's still a thing today. So I don't know. I mean, like, if you could own something from a musician, what would it be?
Oh man, I'd have to have Jimmy Page's 59 Les Paul.
Oh, really? That's it.
Fucking day. Hell yeah. I love Led Zeppelin, man. I mean, it was definitely before my time, so to speak, but I think they're classic and they're timeless, so it doesn't matter. Yeah. But those guitars are highly sought after, and especially his, and he's still alive, but I mean, it's just that would be something that I would love to own. And I do play guitar too. Not just bass, and I play a little bit of drums. I've got 2 Les Pauls, so having old Jimmy Page's, that'd be all right with me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
How about you?
I probably, there's a couple things, I would want, maybe Slash's hat from that Rolling Stones cover shoot, where he was just so fucked up. Maybe Eddie Vedder's flannel from the Alive video. That would be pretty cool.
What about Kurt's sweater from the Unplugged?
Yeah, something,
like old granny looking green sweater. Like, what the fuck was he doing?
Dude, I would take anything from the Nirvana Unplugged session. Anything. I mean, you wonder, because you don't know how historic something's going to be at the time, but you wonder on that set where there was a very small audience, what people took. I mean, down to the cigarette butts. I mean, he went through like 2 packs of cigarettes, in that session. If you watch the whole thing, like raw, I mean, just there's a pen there, there's paper there, just any of that stuff. Just to have it. Like, I got an old friend of mine in Atlanta. He used to play in a Nirvana cover band, and dude, he was good. I have no idea why he ever gave it up. He is a very talented musician. He went off to photography and whatnot. I thought the world of him. And we would work together a lot, like with the podcast and radio shows and stuff. You would do things and whatnot. Amazing voice, and just nailed Kurt Cobain. So for my birthday one year, you can't see it in this screen, but to my right, next to the Shinedown platinum and gold records, there's a replica of the Vandalism guitar of Nirvana's, the black and white Vandalism. And he did it to a T with all the, broken this and broken that and scratches here and there. And then above it, I have a shadow box on my wall here in the Golden Scissors studio that's got an explanation of the vandalism guitar and a brick that he went to Aberdeen, Washington and stole from Kurt Cobain's house.
That's commitment right there, dude.
Yeah.
Wow. Holy shit.
He brought that son of a bitch back from Washington State to Atlanta, Georgia for my birthday. I was like, that's the sweetest thing. And he stole it on top of that. Like, that's pretty badass, dude.
Dude, we're playing Seattle on this run. I love playing in Seattle. I like I've said before, came up as a grunge guy, and you could feel like the city has some problems too, but it's like it's raining and shit. It's different, man. But it's beautiful though too, and with the mountain and the it's really a cool place to go to. I think Bobby went there with his son, and they visited that house though one year, and he said it was kind of just disturbing a little bit, but it was something interesting to go and do.
There's people that live in there. It's not like a museum. It's not like Graceland or anything. It's like people that live in there.
Someone bought it and they live there. Yes, it's weird, man. I don't know.
I don't know how many times they're like, get the fuck off my lawn.
Yeah, people showing up. Whenever we play up in New York, we played at Amityville there. I'm sure you're familiar with the
Amityville art. Yeah.
So there's a club down there. I can't remember the name of it, but I don't even know if it's still there. But it's not far from the house. So of course, someone owns that house though too, same way. And I'm like, that would suck to own that house because there's people just back and forth all day, like it's like a Disney or like a zoo exhibit or something. But that's your fucking house. Mm-hmm. But oddly enough, I don't think it's not on the water like it is in the movie.
Oh yeah, they probably shot that at a different place. Yeah,
exactly. So I was like, wait, but isn't there a lake behind it or something? And the people are like, no, that is the house, but that was just like a Hollywood shit,
Or if you're like a useless movie trivia guy like myself, and you happen to run across a house that you recognize or you find that no one else would care about, and people question why you went to it. For example, i.e., years ago, I was in Los Angeles and not too far from, downtown LA where UCLA is and where they play and whatnot. It's the house from Beverly Hills Cop 2. And so I went and I was like, it doesn't look anywhere near as big as it does in the movie, first and foremost. And I get out and, start taking pictures and stuff. And this guy comes out. I don't think he owned the house. He just came out of nowhere and he was just like, what are you doing? I was like, this is the house from Beverly Hills Cop 2. And he goes, yeah, I know. He goes, what are you doing? So it's the house from Beverly Hills Cop 2. I mean, I'm taking pictures. I'm not hurting anybody. I'm on the sidewalk. He goes, yeah, but why? This is a great movie, man. It's Eddie Murphy's The King. I love that movie. It's part of my childhood. He goes, all right, I just thought that those days were over.
I kind of don't blame him though. I'd be like, get the fuck out of here, dude. Seriously. Yeah, it's a great movie. Go to fucking Amityville. Fuck off.
Go find a bigger house.
Do something else, man.
Go find the house from A Christmas Story. Find something bigger. But Beverly Hills Cop 2, what are you doing?
Or from the Osbournes or something, like
yeah, you're in LA. This is the house that you picked.
Yeah, of all the other famous sites you can visit and movie sets, and oh man, that's funny, dude.
Do you guys normally when Saliva goes out, and I know it's too early in this tour to answer for this tour, but certain cities, certain places, other musicians of name, or people of name come out, see you guys for the show.
Oh yeah.
And, yeah. Like
absolutely.
Who and what cities?
When we were in, so quite recently, last time we played the Whiskey, in West Hollywood there, Michael Starr came out.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Steel Panther.
Lindsay Manfredi from the band Cold was there. Of course, Will Martin was there from Earshot.
Yeah.
There was a bunch of other people there that I was like, huh. But I'm trying to think of like more names. But it's and we invited some of those people, but some of them we did. Michael Starr just showed up. I was like, huh, maybe he just wanted to watch the band. I don't know. And then Bobby got photos with him. Super nice guy. That guy could fucking sing his ass off.
He's a great performer too.
Dude, he sings David Lee Roth better than David Lee Roth at this point. He's great. But and then I'm trying to think of other cities.
Like in Seattle, do you see like any of the grunge guys coming out?
Actually, Kevin Martin from Candlebox came out too. He was gonna do he was gonna do the song Horizon with us because we have a version on Revelation Retold with him singing, and but we didn't really get a chance to kind of go over it with them, so he didn't do it this time. But we are playing the Whiskey again on this run. So I'm hoping he gets up there with us and rocks it with us. But,
tell him I said hi. I love Kevin Martin so much. That guy's been so good to me over my career. Whenever, the day that Chris Cornell died, I emailed him at like 6 a.m. Eastern time, which would have been, 3 a.m. his time. And he came on the show, to talk about Cornell. I mean, you're just talking about this dumb radio guy in Atlanta. And, I was looking for a guest to speak first person kind words of arguably one of the greatest singers to ever do it, which is Chris Cornell. And he did it without hesitation. He is such not just an amazing artist, and Candlebox underappreciated as a band, and what they did transitioning from the grunge to the pop rock, in that era, because you got to remember it was hard grunge for a couple of years, and then the music shifted, and then it split. You had boy bands, and then you had pop rock. You would start to get bands like Third Eye Blind and Vertical Horizon and those types of bands. And so they were part of that transition period where they were awesome. Like that first album is like,
that's great.
That first album to me is equivalent to Pearl Jam 10, Soul Asylum, Grave Dancers Union, Bush 16 Stone, where you go through and out of, let's say, 12 tracks, 10 hit hard. Yeah. And that when I say hit hard, I'm like, you love them.
And the other two aren't bad songs, but whatever. But so for fucking 95% of the record is money, and they absolutely that's good A&R work too, and like them picking the right songs to record and executing the recordings and shit. That's good artist development, I think, man. And I kind of feel like Leave a Whisper's that way, man. I mean, it's that's one of those records. I'm super proud of it, of course, but I'm like, I put it on and I'm like, fuck yeah, proud of that one. I'm singing along to that one. Yeah, it's just, and I think Steve-O did a great job. I know Jason might not agree. Jason Todd, who was on last week.
That made me so uncomfortable, bro. I got it. Because I love Steve. See, I mean, I don't love him, but I haven't talked to him in years. Actually, last time I talked to him, he kind of blew me off. But, I've got nothing but nice things to say about him. I've never had a bad experience with him. I've always put him on a pedestal. And to hear Jason, Jason Todd was on last episode, for those that don't know, the biggest episode we've had to date, by the way. I mean, it shook a lot of trees. And I love Jason, and it was great to reconnect with him, but my man had no problem speaking his mind. And I love it. I like that too, but holy shit.
And we didn't tell him. We were just like,
no,
just come on the show and we'll just go with, we didn't say, hey man, this is out of bounds, or hey, can you not mention this? Can you not trash this person? And he didn't trash people though, man. He just said, it was just real talk, man. And I appreciate that. I think some of the fans did too. And I mean, it's
what I liked about how he talked. And, so for those vinyl roadies that follow the show religiously, and, you follow us on Instagram at the Vinyl Road Podcast. I will post what I call snaps, social snaps, these small clips of the show, in order for people to, hey, this is where the episode is, and this in order to get a bigger audience. So anyway, And I pulled a lot from that episode, more than usual. I think I pulled like 3 or 4 clips. And what I noticed when I was going through the show is you're right. I could have taken it out of context, for the clicks and made him look like he was going after someone. But if you listen to the whole thing, that's not what he was doing. And I did not want to put him in that light, or even stir that pot. So that's why the clips were longer than usual, because I wanted people to hear, like, my favorite was when he starts talking about the session with Brent and how everybody else is working and Brent is doing nothing. And he finally confronts Brent and he says, what the fuck are you doing, man? Like, we're all busting our ass and you ain't doing shit. And Brent gets behind the microphone and nails it. And that was actually the recording that was on the album. And Jason, in self-deprecating form, finishes the thought by saying, never said another word to the guy ever again. That encapsulated that relationship. I think just that minute and a half encapsulated that relationship. Oh, that was great.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And also him going back to the brotherhood. I remember when Jason came into the picture, man, like him and Brent didn't know each other from Adam, dude. Next thing you know, they're like fucking stepbrothers when they're getting along. They're like peas and carrots, dude. It was bizarre. And I just know when he spoke about that part, how much that affected him when that ended. And because not only did his tenure in the band end, that friendship, it kind of ended for a while there. They reconnected, but no, like him just being super honest about the situation at hand. I mean, Brent had a way of doing things. He did well when he was backed into a corner, right? So if it's the band writing with them, there's a certain level of pressure, right? But if he's writing with the producer, or if he's under the red light comes on and there's pressure to get it done, that's when he shows up. And that's fucking exactly what Jason described, because we were like, same thing with Leave a Whisper, dude. We had Crying Out, Better Version, and Fly from the Inside ready to go, basically musically. We had tracked drums, guitar, most of the guitars, bass was ripping, and me and Barry are leaving to go back to Jacksonville because the label was like, hey, if the bass and the drums are done, what are you guys going to do? Hang out in LA and basically spend our money, spend your own money, really, because it was recoupable. So I'm like, I didn't even hear those songs until, because Brent had kind of had melodies for Fly from the Inside before I left, and he kind of had the hook, but the Weight of the World on My Shoulders part, he didn't have that part yet.
Oh, really?
So even when we heard the rough mixes coming off the board from Bob Marlette, I was like, fuck, he showed up, bro. I mean, he showed the fuck up.
Yeah.
Because I just remember it starting down, 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 down with the guitar. And that was, it was just the music, right? So whenever he put his spin on those songs, fucking killed it, dude. So like Jason said, he probably shouldn't have doubted him at that point on the second record, because that's kind of how he showed up on the first record, know?
Yeah. It sounds like you guys were going through, well, there was other things that there was happening in the band, which is no secret, with the demons and the monkeys on the back and all that stuff. But it sounded like you guys were still trying to learn each other's work ethic. And we've all been in that situation. I work a lot, probably like you and or Jason, where I'm a workaholic and it's 24/7 until it gets done. And I don't feel like I'm working unless I'm working. And then there's people like Brent, where you question because you don't see it, but you have no idea what's going on in their head. And then they deliver in a different way that you do. And it's hard for those two sides to meet in the middle until it takes time in order to, am I right on that? And that was part of the problem. Yeah,
absolutely. And then sometimes we'd show them songs and song ideas. I Dare You in particular, when I first made that bass line and made that bit of music up, it sounded more like The Cure. It sounded like Pictures of You. It had like a kind of jangly, almost bassy kind of groove to it. Are you familiar with the song Pictures of You by the Cure? Yeah. So it kind of had that vibe, and it kind of like he didn't connect with it, or he wasn't really feeling or like melodies weren't coming to him, so Tony Battaglia, the producer of the record, he's like, hand me the guitar. So I hand him the guitar, and he just starts strumming it like real straight, like dan 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 dan. Next thing you know, it just, for whatever reason, it had to be sort of um, uh, shown to Brent that way, and he fucking, again, he knocked that one out of the park too. That one they took to top 40 radio.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but I was obviously a little frustrated at first, because I was like, come on, dude, this is a cool idea. Let's not fuck with this, So, let's take it. And then he did eventually, but it had to be presented to him in a certain way for him to him to do it, man. So
Whatever happened to Tony Battaglia? Is he still alive?
I don't know, man. We had some issues with him, unfortunately, and I don't even really need to go there. But that really, I feel, was the beginning of the end for the original lineup of Shinedown. Was working with him in the studio. It was very tough.
Really?
It wasn't fun at all. It felt like we were all backed into a corner each, and it was like, all the bonds that we sort of had built on the first record, and going through the whole studio process and playing 400 freaking shows or whatever it was, because we did at least 400 shows, counting all the acoustic performances at radio, counting all the shit that we did. We did a lot of shows. We did a lot together. And if you look at Live from the Inside, the DVD, that was the last show. And I'll never forget, I was shot, I think, March 5th, 2005 at the House of Blues in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, right? And we're talking about how tight we are. We're talking about the brotherhood. We're talking about, this is fucking us against the world, dude. So, they gave us 2 weeks off, like Jason said. And then like, okay, y'all got some songs or what? And we were like, no, we just been fucking humping it every day out here trying to sell this record, So we had a lot of pressure to come up with a lot of songs really quick, like. And part of that was dealing with Tony. And of course, he had a publishing deal. And so he was trying to get his songs on the record. Tony co-wrote 45. He co-wrote Burning Bright. He was typically known for working with pop bands. Because he was a Orlando-based producer, and a lot of those boy band type bands,
right,
worked out of Orlando, and he was connected to those folks. So anyhow, I mean, I don't need to drag this on, but I mean, it just got to the point where it really created a wedge. It drove a wedge in the middle of our band, and everything that we had built, it felt like had been just fucked, destroyed, and so we spent that next record cycle trying to pick up the pieces and still be a band and just try to deal with it. And when I was let go, Bill McGathy told me, he was like, kid, you never got over what happened on the second record.
Yeah. I don't even know that. All I know about Tony is he played guitar at my first wedding to my first wife, and Brent sang the same song, which neither you or I knew that was happening, that he sang at both of our weddings. Thank you, from Led Zeppelin.
He did. Yeah. I mean, and look, man, I don't know. It's one of those things where I know Jason blames Steve-O, and maybe, I mean, not to play the blame game. I mean, it doesn't matter, whatever. But maybe between the two of them, and at the end of the day, I mean, I feel like the label should have fought to keep the original thing intact. Just saying, because I mean, people, obviously, I'm in Saliva now. People have an issue with original members being in the band or not being in the band.
Right.
And so God bless Shinedown's kicked ass. They put out some great records. They have a great band, and Zach and Eric stepped up, and that's the Shinedown most people know. I mean, it was like, it's kind of like odd, because I'm out there fucking when we did the festival in Maryland there, Boardwalk. I'm walking around, and there's a lot of Shinedown shirts out there. They don't even fucking recognize me, bro.
Yeah.
And I'm like, and now some people did, of course, like, but a lot of them, they weren't sold that version. It was like, once me and Jason were gone, it was kind of like a rebranding and almost like a repackaging. And Nick Perry was in the band for a minute, Christina Perry's brother. I don't know
Mhm.
if you know who Nick is. He was guitar player in Silvertide.
Mhm.
So it's kind of odd, and then next thing you know, I go up on stage, and it was kind of funny because I rode my bike to the liquor store after the set. And people are like, "That's Shinedown's bass player on the bike." And then someone's like, "No, that's Saliva's bass player. He got up there with Shinedown. That ain't there." Fucking, it was funny as shit. It was just confusing or whatever, but
Did anyone say, why is he on a bike at a liquor store? He
what?
was a rock star just 5 minutes ago.
Well, I carry my bike, right? So it's just easier just to get on the fucking thing. We were out of booze, so I was like, it's still open. No shit. I think I remember actually crashing the bike at one point. But thankfully, I don't think it was in front of anybody. I think I was still backstage. It was kind of, there's rocks, like loose rocks back there and shit. And I think I fucking busted my ass on the bike. But man, I was determined. I was determined just to see those people after I had joined them on stage, and they're walking out. It was over. Nickelback had played and shit.
That's hilarious, dude. Hey, are you guys in Saliva always open to collaborate on tour? Like you were just talking about, if you're at the Whiskey, Kevin Martin shows up from Candlebox. Well, I guess that's not a good example because he's already done the song with you guys, but anybody, Michael Starr, if Michael Starr wanted to come up, can you guys change the set in the middle of it and go, all right, well, let's not do a Saliva song. Let's do, an 80s song that he's obviously going to know, that you guys know, that Bobby knows. Let's have some fun and just kind of improv a little bit. You guys open to that?
Absolutely. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely, man. Historically, so the band, we do a medley, of course. It's Eminem and it's Michael Jackson and it's Linkin Park. But the third spot it was at one point it was Rage Against the Machine. So we switched it up. We for a while there we were playing TNT by AC/DC. So we have some of those songs in our back pocket. It would just have to be something that we at least discussed before to make sure he knows the words and shit like that. But yeah, I mean, whoever it is, we totally love that. I think that gives fans something that they're not going to ever see maybe again, or maybe they weren't expecting to see, of course. And then you get everyone's got their phones up and they're like, I was fucking there for that, dude. That's cool. Whatever. So yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, man.
It's definitely a viral moment. And, Taylor Swift did a really good job of it. I don't know if it was the last tour or the tour before, but in every city that she went, she got a hometown hero. She's in Canada. She brings out Bryan Adams. I mean, we're talking about the upper echelon of artists that she brings out, and it made a viral moment. So within her tour, she's doing, Summer of '69 and this and this and this and that. I just always thought that was a brilliant idea. No matter what band you are, what artist you are, bring out, if I see Michael Starr sitting at the bar enjoying the show, like, hey, dude, you want to come up and here, let's do Van Halen, let's do Hot for Teacher, something like that.
Well, when we were there at that Boardwalk Fest, Candlebox was playing, of course. So Bobby got up and did, I think he did Far Behind with them. So that was cool. And then, Bobby's daughter, Veda, got up and sang with 3 Days Grace. So there was a lot of that going on for that show, kind of, and Fuel was there. And when I saw Carl, after I did the, Carl Bell, the guitarist, I saw him afterward. He was like, man, I didn't fucking even think about having you come up there. And I was like, I might know a few of them songs. I played them a time or two. And I told him, I said, dude, I love the brand. I love the songs. I love being in the band. Those were great years in my life as a musician. But I also want to say back what I was talking about real quick before, as far as the Shinedown thing. I mean, I'm no saint, dude. Like we were all in a different place back then. I was partially to blame for the shit too. And so was Jason. So dude, I get it. I mean, I just wanted to say that there's going to be people that say, this, that, or the other. It wasn't them. It was you guys basically got yourselves kicked out of the band. So, anyway, I just wanted to make sure I threw that in there, that I'm not some fucking righteous asshole. I can own my mistakes. But listen, I was fighting for my integrity. Some things happened, like I said, and and I guess
I don't
changes had to be made, and that was to change.
I don't think people think that. I don't think people think that at all. When you guys are out, you should try to find a city that Youngblood's on.
Oh yeah, dude.
Yeah, I mean,
I gotta meet that dude, man. He's a hoot. I want to party with that, that motherfucker.
Dude, that collaboration on like the MTV Video Music Awards have not been relevant in decades. They were synonymous at one time with cool collaborations. Axl Rose, Elton John, or I'm sorry, Axl Rose, Tom Petty, Eminem, Elton John, all these different really cool collab. I mean, that's what the show was known for a long stretch. It was always the closer. And then it just got ridiculous with all this pop fabricated trashy music that I know it's trendy for the minute, and you come out there and you got the dance moves and all this, and then you give the Vanguard Award, which really means you are old. And here, let's have the new up and coming young artist present it to the old artist, just so we can compare both of you together and how much better she looks than you. I mean, it's like, so I mean, maybe I'm looking at it differently. And then, you see the crowd, and it's this prefabricated crowd of, they all know the words and they're all actors, and it's not real. It's not fun. But this year, not that I was watching, of course I saw the highlights, dude, when Youngblood comes up and they're doing this tribute to Ozzy, and then he's joined by, and I got to tell you, Aerosmith, because he's joined by Aerosmith, or at least Steven Tyler and Joe Perry, that they are like at the center of all great collaborations, whether it's recorded on album at an award show or at a venue or at a sporting event or whatever the case may be. One of my favorite collaborations of all time, sneaky collab, was I think 2001 Super Bowl. And it was Aerosmith, I think Missy Elliott, NSYNC, and Britney Spears and Nelly. And I was just like, I just thought that was cool. It was just something cool about that. It was probably one of the better performances. I think Super Bowl halftime shows should always be a collaboration of different genres of music. Unfortunately, Jay-Z owns it, and he's got his own militant way of doing things. But, so that collaboration with Youngblood and Aerosmith, and they did Crazy Train and they did Changes, was absolutely amazing. If I ran a rock radio station, that song would have been in rotation. It still would be in rotation to this day.
Incredible. It was incredible. And I hope, just seeing like all the doors that have opened for him recently, people think he's brand new. I'm like, no, this dude's been grinding. He's been fucking grinding, dude. And, of course, recently with Ozzy passing and just all the things that came with that show before he passed and everything. I mean, this dude is now like a household name, and people are like, oh, it was overnight. I'm like, no, it wasn't, dude. Just because you're just finding out about this guy, I hope he's on the fucking halftime show, man. Like, It was cool for me that like to your point, like that was the first time that rock music has been featured on that show in a long time. And most of the time it's not even mentioned, or it's a band that you're like, wait, that's rock music?
Right. Yeah.
I don't know if I agree with that. Oh, so best rock music category. And I look it through, like, it's like when Jethro Tull won the Grammy for metal, best metal song. I'm like, Jethro Tull, they have a fucking flute in the songs. They have a flute. That ain't fucking metal, man. Come on. It's just, I have a hard time with those shows with their categorizing things like that. But one year we were at the NAMM convention in Anaheim, and my friend Mark Reiser he part owned a company called Fargen Amps, right? And so Johnny Depp plays guitar. I'm not sure if you know this. He's actually a really good guitar player. He's
in the band with Alice Cooper and
that's where I'm going. Hold on.
Okay.
So Mark's like, hey, there's a NAMM event going on at this high school in Fullerton, and Fargen Amps sponsored it, and Johnny Depp loves these amps. He plays these amps, and he's like, Johnny Depp is going to be performing along with Marilyn Manson, Steven Tyler, Alice Cooper, Butch Walker. And I was like, no fucking way is that. Come on, bro. There's no way. At a high school, state like theater or whatever. Sure as shit, they start the show. Out comes Butch Walker. Next thing you know, here comes Steven Tyler, and they're all on stage doing it. Of course, they did like Beautiful People when Manson's up there, and it was incredible. My wife was tripping to be that close to Johnny Depp. She started walking, like approaching the stage. I was waiting for her to literally jump on the stage. She loves him, dude. But talk about a cool collaboration to see that I wasn't expecting. I didn't even really believe it was going to happen. It was really cool, man. But yeah,
what's the name of it? Was it Hollywood Vampires?
Hollywood Vampires. Yep.
Which is a cool name.
Very cool.
Yeah, real. I mean, Johnny Depp's cool. He's the
best.
He's
awesome.
just. I mean, like, hey,
I grew up on Depp. Remember, he was in Nightmare on Elm Street, the first one.
Sure.
Yeah.
That was his first big break, I believe. Right?
It was.
Yeah, that was his first.
Jump Street. Yeah.
Didn't he get sucked in the bed? Wasn't he the one that got sucked in the bed?
He did. Yeah. He kind of died pretty. It was pretty violent.
But it was one of the most memorable Freddy deaths of all time. Is the bed sucking?
Yeah.
That was. So maybe Johnny Depp wouldn't be Johnny Depp if he didn't have such a cool death in Nightmare on Elm Street. Who knows? Because there wasn't much acting going on at that scene. Outside of him getting sucked in.
Not really. No.
Favorite collaborations that maybe you've been a part of, or just as a fan you've seen? Because this Youngblood and Aerosmith thing, that's like Aerosmith, Kid Rock, Walk This Way, Run DMC. I mean,
those are all great. I mean, Public Enemy with Bring the Noise with Anthrax.
Yes.
Public Enemy, that was cool. Of course, going back to the grunge thing, Eddie Vedder, Chris Cornell, really before Pearl Jam was a thing. And they had Temple of the Dog, and Hunger.
Pearl Jam spawned from Temple of the Dog.
Right. But the Temple of the Dog record, I think, oddly enough, came out before 10, didn't it? It was kind of a weird timing thing, right? And so it was like, wait, that's half of Pearl Jam, and that's part of Soundgarden. At least Matt Cameron and Chris Cornell. But I thought that was cool for me because, again, that was still there. At least MTV was still focused on rock music and rock bands, and it was cool to see, them still, because it became a mess, dude. After TRL and just by the time it got to the point where MTV was no longer breaking bands, they were all about teen pregnancy shows and the real world and reality. It just got to be that's why I'm like, there's VMAs still. They're still playing videos. When? Mm-hmm. Come on. I mean, it just started getting.
Think about this. In the past 2 decades, the Video Music Awards, MTV has been irrelevant. They'll get a pop for some sensationalism. Oh, look, the girls kissed each other. Oh, look, they brought back, Lady Gaga wore a meat outfit, or, they'll get some kind of pop for that, but it's never a pop for a performance. And if it is a pop for a performance, it's only because it's overly sexualized. This is the first time in a long time that the MTV VMAs have been relevant to an audience for music and outside of a genre that is their core audience, rock and roll. And it's a beautiful thing to see.
It was absolutely. And people are saying Youngblood, he's no Ozzy. And of course people talk shit, but I was like, dude, he just basically put rock. I mean, of course, all the people involved on stage with him, but put it back on the map in a mainstream, in a big way, dude. And they should be.
And he's getting kickback because he's not the working class guy. He came from a private school in a good neighborhood with good parents and all this stuff. And people are trying to pin on him that he's a phony baloney, but he's openly talked about. He's like, I've never said any of those things. I've always been honest. And he's like, I've just been misunderstood, and I got to tell you firsthand, as a guy that went to a private Catholic high school, just because you go to a private Catholic high schools is an all-star roster of rejects from public school. That's all we are. That's all we are. Anyway. All right. I know you got to go. You've got to get back out doing your thing. You got to get on the bus. You got to go do a gig. If Saliva is in a city nearest you, go and support them. Go to jasonbailey.com, get a Vinyl Roads podcast t-shirt in the merch store, buy your Temu Saliva shirt if you guys are selling it or just throwing them out. buy your Saliva merchandise, wear it loud and proud, and then post it not only in the Saliva social media, but also at the Vinyl Road Podcast. You can repost now on Instagram, which is really, really cool. Follow all the shows on the BPX, please. And you can get those details, jasonbailey.com, and listen to those. And there's a subscription portion for Tuesdays and Thursdays of the BS. Dude, best of luck on the road. This was another good show. Nicely done. Play bass well. I guess that's what you would say, correct? Play bass well.
Play bass well. I plan on it. I want to thank everyone for listening. Thank my co-host here for kicking ass and always keeping it awesome and real on this show. And I'm stoked. There's going to be many different wallpaper backgrounds, so stay tuned for the next piece of shit wallpaper look on my end of the camera. Maybe next time I'll get some sort of backdrop behind a green screen or something.
That's why you listen on Spotify, because you can watch on Spotify and also on YouTube. But every episode, if there's outside of the content, there's ever reason to listen and or watch is to see what the ugly ass wallpaper will be behind Brad Stewart on the road for the Saliva tour. That's
for the next 5 weeks.
For the next 5 weeks. All right, brother. Have a good one. Guys, thanks for listening. You're going to be doing some drinking. I understand. I get it. If you've had too much, please don't get behind the wheel of a car. I've lost way too many friends like that. Thanks for the support. We'll talk soon. Hey, bye.
I think we should do a podcast about rock and roll. I got some stories.
That's it for this episode. Check out jasonbailey.com for more shows. Until next time.
3 different shows, 5 days a week, 1 feed, details, and to subscribe, jasonbailey.com.